This is the dark and disturbing story of a young man's obsession that led him down a twisted path to murder. A story of jealousy, rage, and haunting confessions that would tear two families apart and shake a community to its core. Our tale begins in the small town of Belton, Missouri in 2006. Kylr Kopetsky was just a bright-eyed 17-year-old girl who loved music and hanging out with her friends. That's when she caught the eye of 18-year-old Kylr Yust. At first, their teenage romance seemed like puppy love, but troubles were brewing beneath the surface that no one could see coming. Fast forward to April 2007. Cracks had shattered their young relationship, and Kara went to the police, saying Kylr had kidnapped and choked her. She got a restraining order to keep her aggressive ex-boyfriend away, but Kylr was not one to obey the rules or let his obsession go. Just days after getting the order, demanding he stay away from Kara, Kylr violated it by going with her to a tanning salon on May 2nd. He just could not stay away from the girl who had captured his twisted devotion. 2 days later, on May 4th, 2007, something unthinkable happened that would change many lives forever. School security cameras captured the last known footage of Kara leaving campus that morning at 9:19 a.m. Just a routine day that quickly turned into a nightmare. Around 10:30 a.m., Kara asked a friend named Kyle Reynolds if she could come over with Kylr to hang out. Reynolds declined, being too busy. Then around 1:30 p.m., Kylr showed up at Kyle Reynolds' place, frantically crying. He admitted he had been with Kara earlier despite the restraining order, violating the law. When Kara never returned home that evening, her frantic mom realized her daughter was in grave danger and called the police to report her missing. Investigators quickly zeroed in on the suspicious ex-boyfriend, Kylr. Phone records showed Kara's phone had called him at 9:13 a.m. on May 4th, just minutes before she was seen leaving for school. Kylr called her back at 9:20 a.m., the last call ever made to Kara's phone, before she vanished without a trace. At first, Kylr lied to the cops, saying he had not spoken to Kara at all that fateful day, but the phone proof exposed his lies. With the net closing in, a disturbing pattern began to emerge as the investigation pressed on, revealing Kylr had a dark history of DV and rage towards his former flames. Various people would soon come forward saying Kylr had shockingly confessed to them at different times about brutally murdering Kara out of jealousy and anger. In 2008, Kylr was binge drinking on booze when he drunkenly told his new girlfriend, Caitlin Ferris, in a disturbing confession, "I killed Kara." The next year, in 2009, Kylr's former roommate and bandmate came forward, saying Kylr had admitted to him, "I snapped, and something bad happened to Kara because she refused to love me." It was in early 2011 when Kylr's first recorded confession about murdering Kara would finally surface, after the girl had vanished nearly 4 years earlier. A woman named Caitlin Ferris was wired up by the FBI to meet with Kylr in the woods, hoping to capture an incriminating conversation. The bone-chilling recording did not disappoint, with Kylr's voice ominously saying about Kara, "I strangled the out of her." He then bizarrely asked Caitlin if his brutally killing someone turned her on. Around the same time in 2011, one of Kylr's pregnant ex-girlfriends came forward, saying he had savagely attacked and tried to strangle her too. In a stomach-turning admission, the ex-girlfriend claimed Kylr bragged to her, "I've killed people before, even ex-girlfriends, out of sheer jealousy. I will kill you and this baby too." She said Kylr also boasted about knowing farmers with pigs that could eat anything, including bones, implying he was capable of disposing of victims' remains. To make matters even more twisted, the ex told police that Kylr had even killed kittens in front of her, displaying an utter lack of empathy for innocent life. Despite all the mounting evidence and shocking confessions about Kara, Kylr somehow remained a free man for nearly a decade after her disappearance. That is, until he crossed paths with another young woman named Jessica Runions. It was September 2016, and 21-year-old Jessica Runions had made the fateful mistake of attending the same party as the obsessive Kylr Yust. In the early morning hours of September 9th, a heavily intoxicated Kylr was seen leaving the party, arguing and acting extremely possessive towards Jessica. It would be the last time anyone saw the bright-eyed young woman alive. Only 2 days later, on September 10th, Jessica's burned vehicle was discovered abandoned in Kansas City. Then a crucial witness came forward, Kylr's own half-brother, Jessup Carter. In a bombshell admission, Jessup told police how his stepbrother Kylr had confessed to savagely strangling Jessica to death and disposing of her body in the woods. Jessup also admitted that he was with Kylr when he torched Jessica's vehicle, leaving his stepbrother with burns on his hands and face from the fire. With Jessup's testimony, Kylr was finally arrested on September 11th, 2016, but only for knowingly burning Jessica's car. He had not yet been charged with her murder. Then in April 2017, a mushroom hunter made a grisly discovery in the woods of rural Cass County, Missouri: human skeletal remains. As authorities scoured the area further, they found yet another set of remains appearing to be much older. Forensic testing confirmed every family's worst nightmare. On April 5th, the first set of bones were identified as Jessica Runions, and on August 17th, the other weathered remains from nearly a decade earlier were confirmed as Kara Kopetsky. Finally, on October 6th, 2017, prosecutors charged Kylr Yust with 2 counts of first-degree murder for killing both Jessica Runions and Kara Kopetsky. The evidence was overwhelmingly stacked against him. It contained phone records tracing his communication with the victims right before they vanished, multiple past confessions from Kylr's own mouth describing how he murdered the women, the testimony from his own stepbrother Jessup Carter about his involvement, and even the discovery of both victims' remains in the same desolate area. However, Kylr's defense team pulled out every legal tactic in the book to have the damning case dismissed or delayed. They claimed authorities had unfairly focused on Kylr from the start in Kara's 2007 disappearance while ignoring other potential leads. His lawyers argued police failed to properly verify Kylr's alibi and that evidence regarding other suspects had been mishandled. There were also questions about Kylr's mental competency to stand trial at all, with the defense insisting he was unfit and pushing repeatedly for new psychological evaluations. COVID-19 pandemic restrictions and requests for additional DNA testing on the victims' remains further postponed the proceedings. Then, in a heavy blow to the prosecution, their star witness, Jessup Carter, the man who had implicated Kylr as the killer, died by apparent self-infliction in September 2018 while awaiting his own trial. With Jessup's crucial testimony now gone forever, some feared Kylr might escape full justice. However, after years of motions and delays, jury selection for the double murder trial finally began in late March 2021. The stage was set for the case evidence to be presented starting April 5th in Cass County, Missouri, more than 4 years after Kylr's arrest. Over the next few weeks, a mountain of damning evidence was showcased, cementing Kylr's pattern of controlling, possessive, and deadly violent behavior towards his romantic partners, Jessica and Kara. Prosecutors presented phone logs tracking Kylr's communication with the victims right before their disappearances, as well as security footage capturing his movements. They paraded out witness after witness who recounted how Kylr had repeatedly confessed over the years to brutally strangling Kara and Jessica during fits of jealous rage. Perhaps the most shocking testimony came from Kylr's own loved ones, revealing how deeply disturbed he was. His ex-girlfriends bravely took the stand and told the court how Kylr had violently choked them and threatened to kill them, even while they were pregnant with his child. One ex-girlfriend described a bone-chilling moment when Kylr bragged about knowing farmers with pigs that could eat anything, including bones. This gave a creepy hint at how he may have disposed of the victim's remains. Another shaken ex-girlfriend cried in court as she said Kylr had mercilessly killed her pet kittens right in front of her eyes. This showed his complete lack of empathy and capacity for violence. Even Kylr's former bandmates and roommates testified against him. They recounted how their old friend had drunkenly confided in them over the years, saying he snapped and made sure Kara was gone because she refused to love him back. But the most harrowing evidence was an FBI recording of Kylr's own words. The haunting tape played for the courtroom captured Kylr describing Kara's last moments, saying the brutal words, "I strangled the f*** out of her." Kylr is then heard making an utterly depraved request to the woman wearing the wire, bluntly asking her if his confession about killing someone sexually excited her. As more and more shocking evidence piled up, it painted a grim picture of a young man capable of unspeakable violence and anger when his unhealthy obsessions and possessiveness over women were rejected. When it was finally Kylr's turn to testify in April 2021, he spun a bizarre tale, trying to shift the blame elsewhere, mainly onto his deceased stepbrother, Jessup. Kylr claimed that Jessup had come with him to pick up Kara from school on May 4th, 2007, the last day she was seen alive. He said he left Kara and Jessup alone together that afternoon, denying any involvement in her disappearance. For Jessica Runions in 2016, Kylr's story was that her death was just an accident after a drunken night out. He insisted Jessup must have killed Jessica too while Kylr blacked out. In a last attempt to create reasonable doubt, Kylr's defense emphasized how sloppy the initial police investigation was, ignoring other potential suspects and leads. After weeks of testimony, it was up to the jury to decide Kylr's fate based on the sadistic pattern of behavior the prosecutors described, or whether holes in the investigation provided reasonable doubt, as the defense hoped. On April 15th, 2021, the jury rendered its verdict. Kylr Yust was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter for killing Kara Kopetsky and second-degree murder for Jessica Runions' death. The man whose obsessive desires were repeatedly rejected by two young women was finally convicted of violently snuffing out their bright lives. He was sentenced to life plus 15 additional years in prison. For Jessica's mother, Jamie, the conclusion was swifter, yet no less painful. Just months after Jessica vanished in 2016, her remains were discovered, no doubt devastating her family. While relief could be seen on the grieving mother's faces, the emotional toll of such a prolonged and complicated legal process was evident. Having to relive the worst days of their lives, hear disturbing testimony about their children's final moments, and face their killer was a cruelty no parent should endure.